Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Desire to Inspire. I haven't been on in a couple of weeks because I've been traveling everywhere. I've been going to conferences, and I went up to Canada, to Lake Louise, and did a presentation. And so now here I am back again, and I have a surprise for you tonight. Normally we do this in the morning, but my guests are from the East Coast, the West Coast. I'm from the East Coast, so we decided to kind of compromise with our timing. And I actually met this beautiful couple a couple months ago in California at the World's Greatest Motivators event. And we've been playing kind of tag here because they've been on the road and they're inspiring people too, but we finally got our schedules together. So I'm going to wait for a couple of you to come on, and remember, drop some comments below because they're here to answer your questions tonight. And a lot of my followers, they love the law of attraction, but it doesn't always work, does it? So tonight we're going to find out from my special guest why that is so. And they're going to share with you a little bit about how they work with emotional releases and what that means for you. So I'm going to bring on this beautiful couple. We've got Veronica and we got Aaron Garcia. Welcome, guys.
Hi, Gloria.
Hey, Gloria.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, you guys, I heard, and I've got it up here for our audience, that you are specialists in clearing emotional energy and shifting those mindsets. And gosh, I know I could use that sometimes, and probably all of us, right?
All of us, yeah.
And when we do that, it helps us manifest better, doesn't it?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Cool. So everybody, their intuitive knowledge, abilities, and experience allows them to go deep into the subconscious mind. Ooh, I love the subconscious mind. You're going to take us there tonight?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And this is going to help you guys to release stuck emotional energy and false belief patterns, allowing you to unlock your potential. And boy, I love potential. That's my gig too. It's funny, guys. I did a talk up in, this is really interesting. You brought this up. When I did my talk up in Canada, I have never been afraid to basically get up and talk. It's not been a fear of mine. It's not a belief system of mine. But 4 days prior, I started to have a fear that I never, ever felt before, ever.
Oh.
And I thought, what? And it was deep and it was strong and it was powerful. Anybody ever feel that? If you're out there, drop some comments down below and communicate with us because you have. But this was so different that it surprised me because it would come up so strong, really strong. And, I've done a lot of emotional clearing. So I'm thinking, what is this? And part of my talk had to do with fear as a belief system that we took in from somebody else's belief system. Yeah. And like you guys, I've talked about this a dozen times or more, probably.
Yeah.
But maybe you can explain some of this emotional thing that I need in clearing. Because when I shared this is what happened. I had an image of these bricks that I was picking up as a foundation of a home that represented my core values.
Okay.
And the first one was integrity. And I'm like, yeah, that's mine, right? And this all happened through going inside and seeing all of this, right? But the second one said fear. And I thought, that is not mine. I had a recollection when this happened 18 years ago, but this just came up recently. This is really interesting. 18 years ago, I realized, and I brought this in the story, that I remember when I was 7, the nun was telling my mother in a meeting, and I wasn't allowed to be by the desk. I had to be standing back. Your daughter needs to fear God. And I thought, God, that's really silly. God's a nice person. And then she goes, and your daughter needs to fear something. And my mother looked at her to kind of appease her and said, well, she kind of fears her dad. And I'm standing back there going, no, I don't. No, I don't. So most of life, I've not had deep, intense fear. And I've done a lot of crazy things that you think I would.
Yeah.
But that 4 days, guys, this emotion came up so deep. And maybe you can address this because I'm sure other people have it too. That when I got up on stage and I told that exact story, I realized it wasn't really mine because I saw that nun all of a sudden, and I saw her genealogy of fear in their religious indoctrinations was so strong. And the fact I was getting up to talk about it on a different level, oh my God, I almost canceled going up on the stage. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was almost like you were sensitive to her fear.
Exactly.
Like by thinking about her, it was almost like you can feel the fear that she had within herself.
Yeah. And even though I had thought about that situation many times in life, for some reason, and probably because I'm coming out more, you know, man, it was scary. Have you ever worked like going into somebody else's stuff
Yeah.
like that?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, because well, probably like you as well, I'm an empath, and I can feel people's emotions and sometimes their pain that they have stuck within their body. So it's like I'll be fine, and then all of a sudden my shoulder will hurt, or I'll be fine, and all of a sudden I feel like a sadness for no reason. So I know that that's not mine. But for you, since you were speaking and telling your story, maybe it kind of confused you as to thinking it was your own fear, but in reality, it could have been the nun's fear.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that, because, you know, like I said, I've addressed this topic before, but there was something different about this.
Yeah.
And I was scared. I'm not scared of anything. I mean, I've done crazy climbing 17,000 feet. I had near-death experiences that just say, okay, not good timing, but okay.
Yeah.
You know? So tell our audience, what is an emotional healing specialist?
So what we do is we all go through emotions. I mean, that's a part of our being. In fact, we always like to say that is our natural guidance system. It's our connection to our divine self of who we are. And so we all go through those. And when we look at our emotion, it's going to guide us into, are we going in the right direction? It lets us know, are we doing something right? Are we doing something wrong? Where do we need to adjust in our life? And so what happens is we all go through certain experiences in our life, and everybody has a different perception of how they take in the world around them through our basic five senses. And whether it be a pleasurable experience or a very painful experience, and at different degrees, if it's a painful experience, then let's say when you're a little child, that, okay, I'll use a divorce as an example. It's a very common one. Kids going through the concept of divorce, parents are fighting, and the kid's seeing this. It's not very pleasant. Maybe they're experiencing fear at the moment. And maybe in their mind, they don't know what's going on. They're trying to make sense of all of this. And so their perception of it may, come to a conclusion that this is all my fault. They're fighting because of me. And so now that becomes a subconscious program. And so that emotion, because it's so strong, can actually become ingrained in our nervous system. And so, as you were mentioning, that experience is there. So anytime that child becomes an adolescent, an adult, and people are starting to argue, it can actually trigger that emotion of, let's say, fear or anger, as if they were back in that experience again. They just might not know the correlation. It's just anytime someone argues or there's loud noises, it triggers that same physiology, and we can feel that, right? We can feel it in our heartbeat races, our palms can get sweaty. We might feel that fear or try to run or whatever that is. And so we help to desensitize it and clear that energy, open up what's still stuck in there that's not serving somebody. And once that releases, there's no longer triggers, and they can move forward with whatever it is that they want to accomplish.
And it's usually done in several sessions. It's you can clear a few things within an hour, but there's so many layers upon layers that need to be cleared. So it's you can work on one aspect of it, but then there's still all the other sides of it that show up.
Kind of like what I just said earlier. It's like something that popped up from 53 years ago was still there, even though here I cleared it out on other levels.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah. So was there something for you that brought up a trigger or anything, or just the thought of that nun?
I've thought of the situation before. I have shared it before, so it didn't seem like anything new to me.
Yeah.
So it was interesting because I really couldn't identify it like the first 4 days, but it was so strong in my bones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you feel it.
It was shaking, and I'm like, what is this? You know,
Wow.
anybody out there ever have things like this happen?
Yeah.
And I never have. Not like that. Like, you know, you get scared a little bit, but I never had this to the point where you get sick to your stomach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah, it was very strong. And my friend was visiting me up there. She came to meet me and she's like, I've never seen you this way. I was like, I don't think I want to go. I don't think I want to speak. And I wasn't afraid to speak, but whatever this fear was, it was like it was pulling me back. And after I did it, like I said, the level of my presentations now are shifting into the things that I want to bring to people. And I think something from way back then, you know, was like, that's the best girl. Or something along those lines. But it was amazing how deep it went from all the way back then. Even though I dealt with the belief system over the years. So how do you explain those kind of things coming up after all these years when you've done some work?
Well, like we mentioned earlier, it is the trigger. So it could either be a thought, maybe even a smell, like someone's perfume, like say the nun wore perfume and you got a smell of the same perfume. It could bring up in your physical body, like it starts to react in the way you did when you were younger. Or maybe something that somebody said that sounds similar to a situation that happened in the past. Or it could even be, you know, someone that was there that reminded you of, you know, of someone. And
the other thing too, we notice is there's so many different parts of one event. So I'll go back to.
I like the diamond or crystal analogy. Here's a crystal. There's so many sides to it. And each side represents like an emotion or something that happened. So it all relates to that core event, but it has so many different sides.
So the example would be, let's use the kid that's had the experience of divorcing parents. And so let's say, okay, well, there's this fear of, you know, something bad's going to happen. Parents are going to split up. And so there's a fear, but there can also be hurt. There can also be anger. There can also be, and for different reasons around that event of our life, not just one snapshot, but usually that type of event is like multiple days, multiple incidences. And so it's like, I've already worked on that before. We get that from a lot of people. It's like, oh, I've already worked on that. But as they're talking about it, their whole body language is saying that you have not let all that go because there's still some residual pieces of that incident that are still there. They've worked on maybe a part of it, which is great. But we've gone back to, I've gone back to one event like multiple times, more than 10 times. Like,
it was like high school football.
Yeah, it's like, I cleared all this. Is it still there? I'm like, but it's real.
Yeah.
Well, everybody out there, I see there's a bunch of people watching. So come on and say hello to Veronica and Aaron, our special guests tonight from Awaken Your Spirit. That's their live show that they do as well. And they are emotional healing specialists here to answer your questions too. So if you have a question, drop a line down below. So guys, how did you get involved in this? Like, what made you steer this way to become a specialist in emotional healing?
I'll start with mine because it's kind of like we kind of brought our two together, but we'll try to keep it as quick as possible. My training I was a chiropractor, and I got involved, and I wanted to do like sports medicine at the time. I was really into athletics, but then as I went through school, I got introduced to more of the bigger healing part of it. So I studied in applied kinesiology, what started to teach me that there's more than just the physical side to someone's healing. There's also, you got to work on the nutrition, but you also got to work on the mental, emotional side of it all, and toxins and everything. It's like the whole piece of the puzzle, right? Or the whole puzzle. And so I learned some different techniques in emotional healing to kind of coincide with, the healing process. I really wanted to help people and get them better. And when I started to train and study this, I had my own experiences that helped when I was having chronic pain and nothing was working until somebody took me through an emotional release process. And like all my pain started going away, and it's stuff I never had let go of. And as I went to work at a hospital with my first part of my career, working with chronic disease. And I realized that, wow, I'm dealing with cancer patients, chronic disease, multiple sclerosis, and going through this process with them, I found that a lot of them held on to something. And as I was helping them release their emotional pain, they would at least feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Some of their symptoms started to go away that they would relate to. Oh, it's just my medication, it's my disease. No, you're still holding on to stuff. And then as I was in my practice, that's when Veronica's story comes in.
Yeah, well, I actually got introduced into the emotional healing about 15 years ago, and I started working on myself because there was so much from my past that needed healing. And when I got introduced to this other chiropractor, he did similar work, and what intrigued me was that he could take you back to when it first started. And I'm like, that sounds interesting. Like, I want to know, like, what's all this stuff that's stuck within me and just let it go. And at that time, I would have trouble looking at people straight in the eye. I could look for a few seconds and then I would put my head down.
Oh, wow.
And I was really shy and quiet, and I couldn't even get on stage to speak because I'd probably get so nervous. Like, I did do it a few times when I graduated, this college I went to, and I had to give a speech in front of the graduating class. So it was a little nerve-wracking, but going through the emotional process helped me to be more comfortable looking at people in the eye, going into public places where there's a lot of people. Even after working through some of the emotional stuff, it was still a little challenging because I could feel so much energy with people. So it's a little overwhelming. But the more I cleared myself with all these, emotions that are trapped, it was like I could feel better going out into public. And then we started working together a few years back, and then I would sit in on his, take notes for some of his patients, and I would start feeling pain in my body. So I would have him check, and I'm like, there's something here. Can you check? And it would show up.
It's like, there it was.
Yeah. And then sometimes I would be crying before the patient even knew what was going on. So it was like, we had something here that was very powerful. So we combined what, the talents that I had. And I also studied Reiki. So I'm a Reiki master. And during that learning, I found out, like, wow, I can really feel what's going on in people's body. And so we combined the emotional work that he was trained in, along with my Reiki and intuition, and his intuition has developed so much as well.
Yeah.
So it's really like a intuitive, guided emotional clearing that we do. And
we'll physically test people to make sure we're going on the right track. So we're not kind of going all the way around and spending too much time. Yeah. And what's been fascinating is when we combine that, we realized that we can do it from outside of the office. We started working with people from all over, doing things like a video chat, because energy is everywhere.
Yeah.
Veronica can feel them no matter where they're at. So it's like, hey, let's play around with this. So it was a lot of experimentation. And we got so fascinated in understanding it was like all about the emotions. And as we wanted to understand, like, how does all this work? Why is this here? And it took us into studying the mind. It's like everything starts in the mind. And so we got both fascinated about studying the mind. How does the mind work? How does this all get ingrained there? And then as we started studying the mind, just wanted to know what causes all of this. It takes us down into that spiritual realm, right? And it's like everything starts in spirit, everything starts in thought. And so
took you quite a journey, huh?
It has been.
And I'm noticing here, I'm looking at my phone, we have quite a few people in the healing arts profession, massage therapists, Reiki practitioners, all that. I'm seeing that down here, and a lot of people that are on spiritual journeys. So guys, this is Veronica and Aaron Garcia. They are emotional healing specialists. They are empaths and intuitives, and they're here to answer questions tonight too. And those of you that are in the massage and bodywork field, I'm sure you can relate to this, because we know the issues are in the tissues, right?
Exactly.
Because your body is the emotional filter.
Yeah.
And it's like everything starts in thought, but it's like that's what's creating the program. And this is what we learned from both of our mutual mentors, is Bob Proctor, and he always says that we experience our emotions through our bodies. That's how it comes out. But what happens is, if we're not learning to express what we feel, and people bottle that up, where does that energy go? And it'll manifest and go to somewhere, and every part of your body, physical body, relates to something. We used to get a lot of people that I got chronic low back pain. I dealt with this personally. Usually the low back resembles financial stability, fear of finances. What goes on in the hip problems. Like, are you afraid to move forward in your life? And your body's telling you all this stuff. We just have not been taught to pay attention to it.
That's right. And I've seen, and you probably have too, where like not just the physical pain, but the emotional pain too, and then chronic illnesses that set in, and food allergies, and you name it, like all sorts of
Everything.
stuff. And then I've seen it where people will remove themselves from a situation and all of a sudden they're okay, but then they go back in the situation and it comes up again. Have you seen that happen?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like in, say, relationships, if you're in a toxic relationship, you go somewhere to get healing work and you're feeling good, but the moment you go back, it's like all your pain's back. And we've seen that several times, especially you and working in the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that can trigger us. Anything that our senses, remember, our subconscious mind, it learns to associate. It can't tell the difference between something that's real and what's imaginary. And so again, you have those experiences when you're younger that, you take a snapshot of that, it puts the file back. And so when something like that shows up again, it's going to say, oh, how do I handle this situation? Oh, I got a file for that. Let's pull that file out.
Yeah.
Oh, this is how you're supposed to react. And so your heart rate's supposed to go this fast. Your hormones are going to do this. You're going to feel fear or run away. Or, we're always talking about the negative, but it could be also very exciting too, right?
Yeah.
Something very pleasurable. I want to do that. That sounds exciting. That reminds me of a great time that I had. It's all about association.
Yeah.
And you said earlier too, like everything is energy, so it's like you said, it could be good stuff too, depending on what you're attracting. Veronica, what did you want to say?
I was going to say, because you mentioned emotions and emotional pain earlier, and growing up for me, the emotional pain was more difficult to deal with than physical pain. And it was just so much that I was carrying that I came to a point where I didn't want to be here anymore. And it was feeling my mom's emotions, my brother, my sisters, and because there was abuse going on, with my dad and, abusing my mom, but also hitting us kids and everything. So it was just overwhelm of all these different emotions. And it's like, how do you deal with it? If you're taught to shut up and be quiet and don't say anything, you're bottling everything in, and you don't know how to express. So it's actually suppressing the spirit. But the moment you're expressing and just letting go of all that's stuck, it's like your spirit is free.
And that's why you have the show Awaken Your Spirit, right?
Yeah. To help people with that. To awaken. Yeah.
So guys that are watching, I see you watching, ask some questions or engage in here so we could, talk about this a little bit more other than just the three of us. Okay. So if you have a question, Candy's saying, yep, me too. Candy's an empath as well. And she's been a body worker and all. She's very intuitive, and she feels like things around her. And I actually work together. She's in Washington, I'm in Florida, so we're like that far away. So if you guys don't believe that energy connects, I can think of something that we need to work on, like a book cover that we're working on,
And she'll call you.
And she'll send it to me almost identical to what I have seen. And emotionally, that emotional frequency is where we tap into. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's very neat.
It's better than Gmail.
Yeah.
Faster than Gmail.
Sometimes the Gmail just can't keep up.
Yeah.
So how can you help our audience to awaken their spirit? You talk about these techniques, but what specifically do you use? Because I know there's a lot of different techniques out there for emotional healing.
Yeah.
So what is your specialty?
So we use obviously a bunch of different techniques, and there's so many. I mean, there's you can do tapping. There's, some people do hypnotherapy. Some people do some body work that can help people to release. And so, some of the realms that we studied in was through, like, what I studied was neuroemotional technique, and I took some other things. Veronica did her Reiki. We just combined all that, modified a few things that fit what we know and our knowledge and experience. But when people come and hire us, is they feel stuck. Like, they don't know why they can't move forward in their life, whether it's in their business, in their relationships, or something's not going right. And we'll figure out, okay, well, all the results, if I understand this correctly, we know the equation is everything starts in thought first, and then we have our feelings. So this is like the equation for law of attraction, since we're talking about this. And what we think and what we feel is going to dictate what our attitude and our behaviors are. And whatever our behavior is going to tell us what our actions are going to be. Whether we take action on something or we don't take action, or we take the wrong action. And now that's going to create the results that we see in our life. And so we just have to all just look around and see, are we satisfied with all the results that we're getting in our life? And there's results for different areas.
No.
And I can say that too. There's areas that I know that there can always be improvement because we're human. There's always room for improvement. But if we're unsatisfied, we always have to look at, it's not what I did wrong. It's like, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? And when we have all these past experiences of, and we'll call it just gunk, of false belief systems, negative emotion, then that's stopping us from taking the action that we should take. And so we look at the results, okay, then we'll actually start testing them physically. And we'll go through some phrases and just say, like, you know what, you want to make more money, and let's just put a number on that. And we'll say, well, how much do you want to make per year? And let's say, one lady the other day said, I want to make 150,000, consistently per year. We'll say, okay. So we always like to say 150 and more. So it's always about abundance. Right. And we're physically testing to say, okay, I'm okay making or earning $150,000 and more per year. And usually you can see it in their body language, and it doesn't sound congruent when they say it. And when we'll do muscle testing to help us. And so that'll also show that they're incongruent with that.
Yeah. Right.
And when go ahead.
You had mentioned earlier that you actually can do it remotely with people.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are you doing that?
I use Veronica as my receiver.
Okay.
So because
you want to do a test here for our audience?
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
I'll be the vulnerable one?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, guys, you want that? Give us a thumbs up and some hearts. I'm going to put myself in the hot seat, the vulnerable.
I got to stretch.
And let's do some emotional healing here, okay?
Okay.
So
And
if
you've already worked on some things, then you might be good in certain areas, but is there something that you want to work on that? Yeah.
She says she knows.
Absolutely. You think I would say, hey, you want to do this live with me right now?
And what's interesting, we have done this live on shows before, and it's always fascinating.
That's cool. Yeah,
Candy's
like, yes.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so what's the biggest challenge or thing that can improve in your life right now that's on your mind?
A relationship. I have been single for 10 years.
Okay.
Or more. And like you were talking about, different situations in life, even if you're doing healing work, there's still stuff back there.
Yeah.
And I've been working on getting it unstuck and healed and all, but there's still a piece. I mean, I haven't in the past up until this moment attracted what I would like, relationship wise. So guys, help me here.
Got it. Okay. Very common one.
Yeah.
And we see a lot.
Yeah.
And then I'll share our example of how we came together. There's a bigger story behind that, right? So I'll let you get all settled in.
Okay.
All right, you're good? Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm going to test Veronica. And this, for those of you who are watching, it's like, imagine we're testing Gloria herself. So hold. And just make sure the connection's clear. The Wi-Fi signal's good. All right, fantastic. And so we're going to go through some phrases. And so it's like talking to the subconscious mind. And anytime there's an incongruency, everything's going to shut down weak. But also, I want you, Gloria, to notice what it feels like to say it. If it feels like kind of weird in the body, sometimes you guys will know when people say things, it's like I got to say it. So we're going to pay attention to your body language as well.
Okay.
All right. So I'll let you go for the first couple phrases.
Okay. So repeat after me. I'm okay being in a healthy relationship.
I'm okay being in a healthy relationship.
Okay.
Okay.
Did I lie?
No, you didn't pass. You didn't pass the test.
Oh, shit.
I'm okay being in a relationship.
I
like the first question better.
I know, but say that the other way.
I'm okay being in a relationship.
Because it doesn't matter. And the reason why language is so important is because we get people that say they're okay being in a relationship. We change one word and say, I'm okay being in a healthy relationship. That is completely different. Mm-hmm. Someone can be in a relationship and be in a very abusive, unhealthy relationship.
Yeah. So for you, it showed up as both, like either or. It's not.
It's like a relationship in general, regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
I've been through a lot, guys.
So let's find out. So we're going to attach an emotion. So what we want you to do is just keep repeating the phrase, and we'll use the healthy relationship for this, okay?
So there's some people that just jumped on. If you're wondering what's going on here, I'm a guinea pig right now for some emotional healing on relationship. So chime in here, ask questions. And Veronica she's my, what's that word?
Conductor.
Conductor? Okay.
Conductor receiver. You notice how they're both wearing blue right now? Like the same color blue. It's like a kind of like a cobalt.
We were saying that. Did we plan this? We did not plan this.
I said, did you get the memo, Gloria?
Sometimes we'll wear this. We're in the same house and she'll go change. I'll go change. Next thing we're wearing like the same colors. Happens all the time. Okay, back to Gloria.
So let's heal these relationship issues.
So keep repeating until we tell you to stop. I'm okay being in a healthy relationship.
I'm okay being in a healthy relationship. I'm okay being in a healthy relationship. I'm okay being in healthy. Say it.
Okay,
say it 5 times fast, right?
So
I'm okay being in a healthy relationship. I'm okay being in a healthy supercalifragilistic.
Toy boat, right?
Candy's loving this and she wants to see what happens. Candy knows a lot of things about me. So she's like, yeah, okay.
We'll be back after this commercial break. You guys stay tuned. All right, so we're going to go through some different emotions and see what shows up. You don't have to repeat after us.
Okay.
So the concept of paralyzed will, fear, the concept of your fear. So to be in a relationship or a healthy relationship, there's an emotion of fear that's coming up.
What would be scary about being in a relationship if you were to know?
Well, I've had 3 marriages. Okay.
You've had some experiences in relationships.
I've had experiences. One, was just too young. And of course, the divorce and stuff. And it was my choice. The second one, 10 years later, was my soulmate who died unexpectedly 6 months after we were married. Mm-hmm. And then another one later on abandoned me while I was teaching in Hawaii without telling me.
Oh, wow.
I got a little emotional healing to do.
Yeah.
And so if we tie in
10 years, I've been working on a lot of layers. So when you talked about the layers to our audience before, I'm being vulnerable here, guys. I'm showing you it's real. The layers go deep.
Yeah. I just got the goosebumps.
And so to be in another relationship, to attract what you say you want, you've had these experiences. What would be the fear about getting into another relationship?
That it would end again unexpectedly.
Mm-hmm.
Unexpectedly.
That's key word, right? So the concept. So let's paraphrase this, make sure we're on the right track. So the concept of your fear with being in a healthy relationship is that it would end unexpectedly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So should I go deeper?
Did I challenge you here?
No, I'm just wondering if I need to go deeper, if that's exactly what it is. So I'm just kind of tuning into that real quick. No, we'll go that just for time purposes. So
and that ties into the abandonment, even though one was a death. Okay, because we did 4 years of imago relationship therapy to have a healthy relationship, and 6 months after we were married, he had a tragic death, and I was angry. I was really angry. You're like, really? We did all this to have a healthy relationship, and now he's abandoned me on some level too.
Yeah.
So that's the key word, right?
Abandoned.
So then the concept of...
He said there's another key word there, and you use the word abandoned.
Yeah.
Felt abandoned.
Because everybody's words, your words are so powerful. And so just notice if anything starts to come up for you as you talk about this, okay? So the concept of your fear will be in a healthy relationship is that it would end unexpectedly and you would feel abandoned. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. So let's look at a time frame of when we talked about that snapshot. When was the first snapshot that this got ingrained? So the concept of an original event in your life in which you felt this emotion of fear with being abandoned.
So the concept from conception to age 10 years old. Conception 5.
It was conception, I can tell you that. Because
conception.
I did emotional healing work with cranial, sacral, and somato emotional work, 30 years ago. And it took me back to that place of conception and birth. And I felt abandoned by God. I was like, why did you bring me down here? I don't want to be here. Anybody relate to that? Like, you have felt that way? Like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And I've had this whole conversation, while I was in my little bubble, my soul was in my bubble looking down at all this. And I was being told my purpose, and I accepted it. And, I went through life in what appeared to be normal. And then this showed up. The big abandonment when I got mad at God again. That was 20 years ago.
Wow.
And so that first experience, and this is really simple because you've gone through this. And so a lot of times people, what do you mean conception in the womb? And we might have to walk them through that a bit. But if you were to imagine, so do me a favor and do us a favor, close your eyes for a second, because we want to really kind of open up that feeling. So the emotion is fear of being abandoned. And you said being abandoned by God. And think about, what is the fear with that? Why is that so scary to be abandoned by God?
Because you're left in this abyss with nothing.
So think about that. Yeah. So feel that abyss of nothingness and being there. And notice what that feels like.
Empty.
Yeah. So I want you to feel. So the key thing was that we're gonna feel it. Okay. So be there, visualize that you're empty. Just notice what that feels like. That empty feeling, abandonment. You don't want to be
lost. I just feel lost. I feel like my limbs were taking off. They were taken off me.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
It's just feel the sensation of that. As you're there, so you're seeing an image, you're feeling what you're feeling. You'll notice it might be somewhere in your body. But as you're feeling that, take a big, deep breath in. And we're going to breathe all that out. We're just going to keep repeating that process and just keep breathing until that sensation in your body feels calm with that thought. Big belly breath. And just imagine it's like we're just venting out the emotion at that time.
I'm actually, if I can share, if that's okay with you, I'm not, like, it was darkness before, it's not so dark anymore.
Oh, good.
Good. So let us know when it's all light.
Ooh, I don't know what that noise, that frequency.
Interesting.
Wow.
We're sending energy through the Wi-Fi here, so. Just breathe through that. There was that emotion of fear. That's what showed up before. That fear, that emptiness, sense of loss. Until you feel, I'm okay. Sometimes as we reevaluate too, you'll notice that, was he ever really gone? We just couldn't see.
Is there a sound that's coming on your end?
No, and actually, Candy just commented it's happened since we started, and it's getting stronger.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
I actually moved my microphone away, thinking maybe it was too close, and it has nothing to do with that.
Wow.
So,
sometimes we do with energy work, it really messes with technology. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to process all that, or is there still some left?
Yeah. Maybe try to see your volume if you put it down, if it changes anything.
Let's try that. How's that now?
Still there.
No.
Should I move my crystals away? I'll put them over here.
We're connecting right now. Since we have been since you started, beginning very strong now. So Candy is going to be our audio sound person. We don't,
Sound check.
so we always have a person in the audience that's our sound check. Let us know when that happens. She just says keep going. That's what we're going to do. We always improvise on live. So we're going to keep going. So you can still hear us, right, Gloria?
Uh-oh, her sound's off now.
Not my mic.
There you
Oh,
are.
there it is. We can hear you now.
We can hear you good. Interesting. I'll put ours on mute for a second. Just let me know. Did that change?
It's your side. It's coming from you.
Did it change it once I put it on mute?
When it was muted, it stopped.
It stopped. So it's us. Interesting. So let me know if that keeps going. I can always change microphones just in case.
Can you hear us?
You can hear us though, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you could hear. Okay.
All right, so let's go back. If it's too much, I'll switch microphones, but let's keep going. The show must continue. So we're going back, and you're in that one space at conception. So you're going from all everywhere. Okay, hang on. I'm just going to switch settings here.
Wait, you said there's a flashing light.
Everyone can see and hear you. Have the screen in a high-pitched sound. Nope, still happening. All right, hang on. Let me switch our microphone. Let's see if that works. All right. So I'm switching microphones. Is that a little bit better?
Better?
That's better.
Okay. It's this guy right
That's crazy how that started then.
here. Interesting. That's a first. So
Yeah.
okay, so we're going back, and you're in that moment. Maybe you felt that emptiness. It was dark at the time, and now you see light. So we're going to pose the concept of any other emotions with that event. Okay. And so now what I want you to say, and what I also want you to notice what it feels like when you say it. I'm okay being in a healthy relationship.
I'm okay being in a healthy relationship.
Good. What does that feel like saying it?
I said it differently too. I could feel it.
Yeah.
Because it's like that congruency now. So think about it. If there's a fear of being abandoned, and that's the first moment where we might have felt any sense of abandonment, and that's trapped within our nervous system, that's what we tend to attract.
Because that's the vibration that's still stuck within your body, that it's like you're vibrating that. So to be abandoned by a husband, or even the husband leaving, it's still within the vibration.
Business
So,
partners,
business
anything,
partners,
right? Any kind of relationship. It's not just intimate relationships but it's our children. It's our people that we work with, coworkers, all of that, right? Neighbors. And so it's good for me to be in a healthy relationship.
It's good for me to be in a healthy relationship.
It's healthy for me to be in a healthy relationship.
It's healthy for me to be in a healthy relationship.
It's safe for me to be in a healthy relationship.
It's safe for me to be in a healthy relationship.
I'm ready to be in a healthy relationship.
I am ready to be in a healthy relationship.
I'm willing to be in a healthy relationship.
I'm willing to be in a healthy relationship.
I'm able to be in a healthy relationship.
I am able to be in a healthy relationship.
I'm ready, willing, and able to be in a healthy relationship.
I am ready, willing, and able to be in a healthy relationship.
Woo! You guys that are watching, do you see her energy right now? Because that's what we do. It's like we say we want things, but just to even think about it or say it, there's an energy there, and it's like it feels uncomfortable. I want a healthy relationship. I want more money, and it doesn't come off very powerful. It doesn't come off very congruent or confident at the same time. Mm-hmm. And so it's like when we say things, we want things. Yeah, I want stuff, but that's just the conscious mind saying words. And
that's what I felt in the beginning, like when you had me repeating things. Oh, I'm okay with that. Like the I'm okay really didn't go deep down into me until we did that process, and then I felt it like, yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like we're trying to always avoid pain and seek pleasure, and so if abandonment is a very strong word or experience, we're going to try to avoid that at all costs. And
what did you guys think of this, watching this process, watching me go through this healing process? Comment down below, okay? So So yeah, that was powerful. Thanks, guys. So you were using kinesiology,
Yeah.
and Veronica was my surrogate. That's the word I was looking
That's
for.
the
She
word.
was my
Yeah.
surrogate.
Yeah.
And you notice we both wore blue tops today, so our energy jived together, although it wasn't planned. So we were already on a frequency together, not even knowing. We didn't plan this whole session. We didn't even say we were going to do it.
No.
It just came out of the blue.
Yeah, I figured, why not, right?
Yeah.
Why not? Well, you know, Facebook told me the other day on one of those silly little tests that in 2020 I'm getting engaged. So thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
No.
That's how it works. And we always tell people, it's like when we're really asking for something, I want this in my life, I want things to be different, is a lot of times we don't know how it's going to happen. And now we understand that things happen at the right moment, at the right time. And sometimes when we ask, it's like Spirit, God, universe, however you want to define it, sends you the opportunity to be able to work on that. And what we were talking about earlier in our show is sometimes that happens in chaos.
Yeah.
We're running through the same pattern over and over. We say we want something different, but we're unwilling to change it. And like you say you want it, you're not, I'm giving you all this opportunity. You're not listening. So now what we're going to shut your microphone off.
Well, you guys are getting some hearts down here. So slam these beautiful people here with hearts, everybody. Is there anything, I mean, I know they could do appointments with you and we'll give them information on that. Is there anything that we can do at home to prepare ourselves for these sessions?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is knowing what you really want and getting clear about what that is. And writing always helps. And I know you hear this a lot too, Gloria, where you kind of follow the same mentors and they're always saying is, do you know what it is that you want in your life? Because if you don't know what you want, how do you know what to work on?
Yeah.
And so do you want to work on relationships? Do you want to work on finances, your career? Is it more spirituality, connection? Whatever that is like define what it is that you want. And as you write it down, just notice how you feel. And the key thing is being aware of how you feel, because we get so disconnected from our own body because we're so distracted by everything that's going on.
So many distractions out there.
Absolutely.
Like meditation helps with that, mindfulness. It's like being aware of when you say when you're writing down something, I want this, and you felt is like, how did that feel just to even say it?
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that doesn't feel like it feels weird. I mean, you may not know what that is, but it doesn't feel like, yes, I really want that.
Right. So, just like before when you asked that question. So if you guys just came on now, you got to go back to the beginning and listen to what they were sharing, but then watch the process that they took me through, because it was really, like you say, a vibrational alignment process. I was not vibrationally aligned in the beginning. I was just going through the motions. Like you were saying, sometimes people say they want certain things or they write it down, but that emotional frequency is not there. But it was clear in going through that process with you that the way I said the same words, that vibration changed.
Yeah.
What's interesting, when we had Gloria on our show a while back, and you brought your cards out.
Oh, yeah.
And Gloria has shown me a card that was, I think it was after the show. We were just having a private conversation. And it spoke exactly what we're talking about right now. I don't remember the exact words, but it was more in the lines of what you feel in your heart is what is being expressed or what you're attracting. Yeah. And so it's not about what you're
the words you speak.
What's that?
I think it was the one that says it's not the words you speak, was how it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's how you feel from the heart. It's the heart speaking. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's law of attraction really is answering to what you're feeling in your heart. And so it's like you're saying I want this, but if your heart is saying I don't want this because I don't want to feel abandoned, that's scary. That's what you're really sending out. And they're saying, okay, well, we're going to take that away. If it's in money, I want more money, but I don't like money, or I'm afraid of it being taken away, or so many different scenarios. Everybody has their own processes for that.
Well, consciously, you're probably not going to think I don't want money because it's going to get taken away. Like consciously, you're like, yeah, I want more money, and who doesn't? But then it's the emotions that represent the money that started probably from childhood that is the vibration that's still stuck. So recently we had, or we've worked with several people regarding money, and it took them back to when they were a child and they got molested.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and it's like people feel like, oh, I'm never gonna amount to anything. Like you have no value, no self-worth. So in order to make a lot of money, you need to feel valuable. You need to have, that self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
But how are you going to attract more money if the underlying feeling about yourself is not feeling valuable?
Mm-hmm.
So
And I know growing up, I heard a lot of things way back then. There was the whole thing, money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are bad, they're greedy, they're not nice, all these different things that people would tell you. And then, at a very young age, taking the vow of poverty, thinking I was going to be a nun. I mean, that went deep ingrained, So yeah, I can see where a lot of different things, and like you said, even situational things, can make people not feel valuable or feel enough to bring that into their life. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody that joined us tonight. And by the way, Veronica, I found my cards. I actually ordered more, so you will be getting them. Okay. So I did not forget. I actually had to go order more, and then I found the old box because it was during a move. So you will get them as my gift to you. But I want to put up your website here. Is this the correct one? AaronVeronica.com?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's in the works right now. So you can do there. If you guys want to contact us, you can email us at av@aaronveronica.com. There it is right there. And as that gets put up there more, we're just revamping a few things that we're doing. And so you guys can, any questions, just email us.
And before we leave, I wanted to read something that it's from my journal writing. So if
we have extra time.
If we have time.
Yeah, absolutely. You have time for that. And before you leave, be sure to let them know like what kind of sessions you do. Maybe give them a little information on that. But Veronica, I love your reading, so go ahead.
Okay. It says, thank you for connecting with us. Right now is your time. It's your time to step out of your comfort zones and step into the greater versions of yourselves. All of you as the collective consciousness play a big role. Each and every one of you have a purpose. You might already know consciously what that is. Spiritually, you all know what that purpose is. Your spirit is always guiding you. Take time to stop, tune in, and listen to that greater power within you. This conscious spiritual awakening is happening. Avoid being afraid of the greater version of yourself that is pushing you into the light. Awaken to the wonderful sea of consciousness full of possibilities. Awaken to a greater version of self. Become the person who is full of courage to step into that greater version. Allow truth to flow within you and allow yourself to be expressed in that truth.
You're gonna really love this, because right before you did that, I pulled a card out of my deck, and the word koa means courage.
The
Hawaiian word for courage, and the message on the card says, all things change and move you past your comfort zone, which those of you, if you've watched the process, it did move me past that comfort zone. It says faith is your gateway, and on the bottom it says courage comes in trusting God's love.
Oh, I love it.
So you see how vibrationally aligned we are with your beautiful message, with the message from the cards, with the whole thing that we did tonight. This was not planned either, guys out there. So we are in vibrational alignment.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yes. Well, I want to thank you both, and I want you to have the opportunity to share with our audience that's still here live a little bit about your sessions. How long are they? And we've got your email up there for them to contact you.
Yeah, so the way we do our sessions is we do them usually like weekly. We kind of do like in a package between either 1 month, 3 to 6 months, depending on what's going on. Some people are just going through a bit of a crisis right now that they need help, kind of helping them release what's going on. But some want to really step up and change, make big changes in their life. And so we do them for 1 hour, and we do it over a Zoom call. So we can work with people, whether you're here in the States, across the country, anywhere. So we get on a Zoom call and we go through the exact same concept we just did here with Gloria.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own experience with that. Anything to add?
Well, we also add a little bit of coaching in there to put back like the positive aspects to it, like using affirmations and visualization. So we're not just clearing and removing, but we're also adding the good stuff.
because we got to change the program still.
Yeah.
So now that we're okay, now we got to change the way we do things. So like for you, Gloria, the next thing would be, because I know you do a lot of these things, would be now just go through a visualization process and see yourself in that really nice, healthy relationship and get into the feeling, right? It's going to respond to our feeling. When we can feel, that would be really lovely. It's like we're there.
Yeah.
Now you're setting up that alignment for that energy to happen. And it's like when you're ready, right? Ready, willing, and able.
Excuse me, he's at the door right now.
There we go.
You know what? We actually worked on someone on relationships, and the very next day they met someone, and then they started dating. But then the person they met had their own emotional stuff, and they ended up breaking up. But it was so interesting that they attracted a person the very next day.
The next day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But it is possible, depending if you're what you're asking for.
And I would also write down your ideal partner. What it looks like, just everything.
I got a vision board on my ideal partner. Here's
the thing. We can do the same process on your vision board and also your writing.
We can muscle test you on your vision board. So by looking at everything that you want, we'll test, and see where there's an incongruency there.
And everything you say when you're in your writing too, you read it out loud and we test that to see, are you congruent with what you said on paper too?
Yeah.
So we talk about working on all the different angles.
Hey guys, isn't this a great process? You got your vision boards and your journals out there, and you want to see if what you wrote or what you put on there really is congruent and aligned. I love that. I think we need to do that, like for a New Year's thing for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what I did a few years back. Just, I know we're running out of time here, but in that moment before Veronica and I met, I was looking for that relationship. Was alone, thought I had a great career, but I felt I was lonely and wanted to have someone to share that with. And so I went through an event that did this process on me for like 3-4 days. It was in Sedona, Arizona, and I was working through all of my stuff. And that's what we did a vision board, and I wrote down everything that I wanted in my ideal relationship, and I got cleared on every single bit of that to make sure that I was congruent. And within 6 months, that's when Veronica and I met.
That's wonderful.
And it's funny because about a few years later, after we were together, I found that folder. I opened up and read it. It was exactly how Veronica was.
Description of me.
It happens if you guys really put out there and clear out.
It does, and I did that with my soulmate, the one that died. It's exactly.
It works.
Yeah. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank everybody that showed up tonight. Send these guys a lot of hearts and love, and remember to give them a shout out. I'll put their email up one more time here. And guys, have courage. Okay. Have courage. Okay. Courage comes in trusting God's love, and that's what we're here for tonight. So, Aaron, Veronica, bless you both, and everybody that was here. That you're getting lots of hearts down there. If anybody is on the replay and you have a question, just hit pound replay and ask your question. And Candy's saying thank you, and
thank you guys.
They'll come back and check it and look at it. I'm also, with your permission, Aaron and Veronica, I'm going to download this and put it on YouTube so we can share it. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll also have it. Leah's sending you hearts and prayers and everything out there. So guys, just keep sending them some more love and everything down there. They have been wonderful. They helped me here tonight. You got to see it. Okay. So if you missed that process, go back and watch it, and then let's put that vibrational frequency out there that my beautiful spiritual partner, he shows up in the very near future.
When he shows up, I want to hear about it.
Absolutely. You'll be the first one. Hey, I'm walking through the gateway, girl.
You'll be like, oh, you're the guy.
We heard about you.
I'll have to have you at the wedding too,
I'll make the cake. I actually can marry people.
Right. You make beautiful cakes. You do. So it was fun to be here with you tonight, everybody. Candy's like, I can't wait to see what happens.
Oh God, the pressure's on, right?
Yeah, because I know, just like you guys do, when you put a vibrational frequency out there and you are clearing all the old stuff, man, things can happen. It can happen fast if that's what's meant to be, but they do happen in time. And I know that's what happened when my soulmate did come into my life, and it was very unexpected, the timing too, but it was there. And it was really funny because I wasn't really looking at it. Everybody else was feeling it and seeing it. And they're like, you need to be with that man. And I'm like, I was too busy working, But sure enough, the second date, he says to me, I want to have a healthy relationship. And what did you say in that muscle testing? Was I okay with a healthy relationship? So we did 4 years of imago counseling with that to really heal all our old stuff. So guys, this stuff works. Make sure you get in touch with these beautiful people. I will put up their email one last time here, and let's send them some love. Okay. Okay. So stay on for a moment, everybody, while we say goodbye to Aaron and Veronica. Okay. I want to thank you guys for coming on to Desire to Inspire. We always have wonderful guests here. And if you want to be a guest on Desire to Inspire, do you have a message to give out there and change this world? Then get in touch with me. Okay. You could actually post down below, or you see my email. You can email me, Gloria at Gloria Coppola. And you got to see the beautiful cards that they were talking about that were created through me. Even the painting was channeled through me by the goddess Pele. And each one has a soul message, a message from God. And I do sell these cards. So if anybody is interested in them, there are 31 in the deck, and there's a different one. And this is where my soul alchemy work comes in as well, to help you as well find your potential and your purpose, and also help you in a different way to clear some of the stuff underneath there. So we all work in different ways, and we complement each other. And like Aaron and Veronica and I were talking earlier, there is no competition in life, because we are all community, walking you home. So God bless you all, and good night.